And hello and welcome everybody. It's Friday night. Welcome to Coffee Cone and Chat. I'm just hanging out. I don't do anything on Friday nights. I know it's ridiculous. So if you're not tuning in on Friday night, I totally understand. I totally get it. No big deal. But today we're going to be live coding as always every Friday night. My name is Paul from Coding After 30. I stream Friday nights, 9 p.m. CST and 11 a.m. on Saturdays CST. So Friday nights, it's all about live coding, and Saturday, it's all about what it takes to get hired as a developer. And so welcome. Saying hello, everyone in the chat. And if you're in the chat and you can hear me, see me, please let me know, because I want to know that something's actually happening. And if you're not in the chat, that is okay too. It's perfectly fine. But we are going to build a landing page today using Strapi, using Tailwind Remix. And so I've been really enjoying Remix. It's been really fun. I really like it because I feel like it's a fast way to create things. And by the way, I know a lot of people like, Paul, all you do is talk about Remix. I know Next.js exists, Vue exists, Angular exists, and there's lots of great options. But for me, I'm on this Remix bandwagon, and I'm also going to do some Next.js stuff too, but Remix is my love right now. I love it so much. And by the way, those of you who are just joining, welcome. And I'm taking a little break. So what I've been doing on these Friday, and let me turn the music down because it's too ridiculous. What I've been doing on these live streams, I've been building my SaaS project, I guess. One day it'll be something, and I could show you what it is in a second. And it's built with Remix, Tailwind, and Strapi. And then once in a while, I'll take a break and I build like a simple project to kind of, review what I've been learning. And so that has been the process of build my SaaS out. And then also, oh, my kitty's saying hello. Hello, kitty. Hello. Say hi to everybody. Oh, but you cannot walk on the keyboard. I'm so sorry. You're gonna delete stuff, which is fine, happened before. But yeah, and so I've been building my project here. I'll show you what my project looks like so far. So I'm building this platform called Dev Hunt. Right now it's work in progress, so is it perfect? No, but you know what I mean? For me, it's like get it to work and then refactor. So I didn't have the about section yet. I've been working on the resource page. I don't know if I'm going to keep this. This is just a dummy holder thing, but I'm gonna add resources here of like cool things. Here you could see like projects that currently we have, and again, I think this is the live project, and at some point I'm gonna add a thing here like not blog section but bug section, so people could like find bugs in my thing and then submit them so I could like work on them. But we also have our dashboard section here. We have the dashboard view. I got the pinned project to view. So check this out. You could pin and unpin projects, which is kind of cool. Pin a project. There's some additional other functionality. We could go and view the project. So it's slowly making progress. And then I got tasks to work. And so you could actually delete tasks now. I do have to get filtering. So I could filter by done, pending, probably change the colors for done items, pending items, and so on. But I'm kind of adding things that I still need to create and work. So it's slowly starting to take shape and starting to become more functioning, which is kind of cool. And then I'm adding this node section where people right now, again, everything's hard-coded in this section. You'll be able to add a node and you could manage nodes around your projects. And then comments, I'm trying to figure out how. I think I'm going to keep this way of comments because it's not messages, because this is more for messages. I think I'm going to have like a comment section where people adding comments to your project and kind of giving you feedback and stuff. So it's slowly working. And the tech stack that I'm using Remix for the front end. I'm using Strapi for my back end, just because why build stuff from scratch if you could utilize things that already exist? And I'm using Tailwind to style everything. And the reason I like Tailwind because it's just awesome. And we'll talk more about it. And today I want to show you something else that I built. And I built this landing page. And what we're going to do, we're going to start our own landing page and build one from scratch. So you could kind of see kind of the thought process on how I built this particular landing page. And this landing page, again, is built with Remix and Tailwind. I found a template that I used to make things easier. And what's awesome, by the way, about this landing page is that it's getting content dynamically from Strapi. So if you take a look here, I have my home page, and we have a page header, page content, page pricing, page features, and call to action. And if you take a look at our application and Remix, those are the sections that I'm showing. And if I, let's say, remove one of the sections, well, or I don't want to delete it, to be honest. What I'll do, I'll change what we do. Let's say, hey, all, and save. You could see that this content is being hosted on Strapi, and it changes on our website. So we go to, where's that section? Pricing. Oh, here you go. Hey, all. So the data is stored on our backend, hosted with Strapi, so which is pretty cool. So you're literally able to create basic websites for customers if you wanted to, where you could use a template set up really quickly and then give your customers a way to be able to easily edit the content themselves. Like, for instance, they could change, you know, the heading, the title, you know, all this stuff. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start building another landing page from scratch, almost. But this way you get to see, you know, the thought process, how I build this. And what I'm trying to do is figure out a way of like a good stack to be able to build websites similar to like someone will build with WordPress, but without using WordPress, and having the opportunity to use your favorite framework. In my case, it's Remix, but you could use Next.js. And what's awesome with Tailwind, there's so many available libraries. For instance, for my big project, I'm using Tailwind UI, which is a paid component library. They do have some free items, but it's paid. It looks pretty nice. And that's what Dev Hunt uses, the project that I'm building here. So this Dev Hunt is using the UI CSS library, but there's so many others available. You could go to Tailwind Toolbox to check out all the different templates they have available. You could go to Tailwind Awesome to see all these other amazing, cool Tailwind templates. And there's some completed templates. I saw one which was pretty awesome with Next.js. You could literally get the template and hook it up to Strapi, and you'll have a full stack application, which is fantastic. And so many different options. TailwindTemplates.co has pretty awesome ideas. There's also this software called Shuffle, which allows you to kind of basically, you know, use the page builder, right, to build your websites fairly quickly. And then you could take a look at the HTML that you get, and you could export it and you could use it in your React applications. But in my case, what I'm going to do is I did purchase a theme from Tailwind UI kit. Yep. And that's what we're going to use today. But if you haven't said hello, say hello in the comments. Again, would like to know if my audio is actually working. But today we're going to build a landing page similar to like I built this one using React and Remix. So we're going to start nice and easy and slowly kind of talk about what I'm doing. But the goal, again, for me, why I'm kind of exploring using Tailwind, using templates, using Strapi, using Remix, or you could use Next.js or your favorite framework, is to create a workflow where if you wanted to do freelancing, you have a good tech stack that you could use that allows you not only create these awesome websites for your clients, but also gives your clients a backend where they're able to change the data dynamically. Oops, zoomed in too much. Like, for instance, if we take a look at what we do, hey, all, let's take a look here, like as an example. So check this out. We have this section here, what we do here, and I could go ahead, like, let's say I want to add some more stuff. I'm like a client. I could just easily do this in the back end. And I don't know if I'm going to use this same image. Finish. I got to click check. Finish. Check mark. Finish. And then save. And check this out. So now we're going to have a third section that I just added. And like imagine how awesome it's going to be for your clients to have this ability. See, look, dynamically change content. And anyway, that's the benefit of Strapi, that allows you to create amazing API where you could allow your content editors or your customers to update the website themselves, right? We have this pricing section. But anyway, enough chatting. Nope, no comments yet. Not getting the love today. That's okay. That's okay. I'm just kidding. But anyway, in the comments, if someone wants to say if my audio is working, let me know before I continue. But today, I'm going to start to introduce the tech stack, what we're using. I'm going to talk about the things that we're going to use, and then we're going to start the process of building our landing page today. And hopefully it's fun. And I love when you all throw some comments in the chat. And I see some comments, and for weird reason, they're not working in my streaming software, which is fine. I see Engine Boy said hello. Hello. And I see Jose said hello. Brian is here. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm kind of curious why my comments not showing up in the comment window. Oh, geez. Am I like in the wrong chat here? Interesting. Let me check this out for a second. Let me fix it here. Oh, I found the comments. People were saying hello, and I've been an idiot for not looking at the wrong window, thinking no one's giving me love. So Engine Boy's here, welcome. Jose's here, welcome. Brian saying sounds good. Sharon's what's here, and saying I have hard time commenting. Well, I think it might be back to normal. I hope. So today we're going to build our landing page, and basically, first, I'm going to talk about the tech that we're using. So super simple. We're, of course, using Remix. And I'll also do similar video using Next.js as well. I just really been enjoying Remix. So if I have a say of what I'm going to use to build a project, I'm going to Remix first right away. But I do love Next.js as well, and I know a lot of people like it too. So I'm going to do a lot of content on this channel, which will be either Remix, or like Next.js. And most likely what my goal is to get good at both these frameworks, or better at least. And so I'm going to build similar projects with Remix and similar projects with Next.js to kind of be able to compare to see. And yeah, thanks for letting me know. I'm glad things are starting to be okay, I guess. Yeah, if anything breaks, sorry. Like, I try to be as professional as I can be, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Anyway, and so we're using Remix for our front end, and for our back end, we're using Strapi, because Strapi allows you to create API literally in 5 minutes, to be able to set it up so quickly, so fast, to give you an endpoint, to be able to get data for your front end project. And of course, we're using Tailwind because Tailwind is awesome. And at this point, I was a late adapter to Tailwind, but you know what? I'm glad that I made the switch, and I haven't touched Bootstrap in forever. So Tailwind is my favorite thing at the moment. And Spearbell, The Bloated, Soy Dev, Strike Force, love your tweets on Twitter. They're really nice. Glad to see you here. I'm also working on a landing page just now with Next.js and Tailwind T3. Haha. No, that's a great stack, and it's awesome. And what I was going to say, like, doesn't matter what stack somebody uses. What matters is that it's something that you feel like you're either learning something new, or it's something that you're really comfortable working in fast to be able to create, you know, projects as quickly as possible. So my goal, and the reason why I like Remix, the reason why I like Strapi, I am a lazy developer. And if I want to go to market fast, like, what tech would I use to do it? And in my case, Tailwind, Remix, and Strapi is a pretty good suggestion. So we're not going to start from complete scratch, but it's going to be pretty much from scratch. So this is basically, we're going to use the starter that I created for myself, because I got sick and tired of starting a new Remix project, then adding Tailwind to it. You could, of course, Google Remix Tailwind, and then it's going to take you to the Remix Tailwind docs. And I literally just followed these steps here, 1 through 8. And this is what I was left over with. So basically, we have a basic project which has Tailwind connected to it. So we're going to start there. We're also going to start with like an overview of what we want. So let me kind of showcase some stuff here. So I could kill the project that I already showed, because we already seen it. And we're gonna start in this working directory. Let me zoom in. Zoom in more, zoom in, zoom in. Okay, can everybody see this? And clear. And so what we're going to do is, I have too many windows open. I want to show you the template I bought for 13 bucks. Nope, I didn't want to drag it in here. I wanted to drag it here so everybody could see it. Nice, open. And so I bought this template and this is what it looks like. And we're going to use this as our open with Safari. And this is what the site looks like. And this is what we're going to start building. So we have our CSS because I bought a template because yes, I'm lazy. Thumbs up for all the lazy people in the chat. And this is what we're going to build. And this looks really nice. And the reason why I love using templates is because why waste time if you don't have to? And the best thing, now you have a place to start, and then you could customize all of this if you want to. So this is going to be our reference code. This is what we're going to use, which is fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this in a little bit in VS Code. And you get the rest of the stuff that you need. You get images, you get JavaScript, you get CSS, but we're not going to use anything except the CSS that comes here, which is very minimal because we're using Tailwind, and then the index file to take components and reactify them and churn them into something. And I love you. Like, being lazy is being smart. That's what I keep telling myself, to be honest. But sometimes I do find myself doing things which probably have an easier way of doing things, but that's where we at. And by the way, thank you all for joining. I hope if you're in US, I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving. If you're not in US and you don't know what Thanksgiving is, it's basically a holiday which we have to say thanks, and then the day after, on Friday, spend money because there's sales on everything. Like, Jesus Christ. But anyway, a lot of fun, a lot of good time, and I hope my mic is not too loud, not blowing up. Nope, not blowing up. So, okay, so we know what our thing looks like. So there's a bunch of ways to start. Let me go back here. So this is what we're going to look like. And we could break this down into like little components. This could be our header component. This could be whatever the hell component. I don't even know what to call this yet, but we'll figure it out. We could call this benefits component. We could call this something else. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to start super simple. We're going to create components that we're able to dynamically pull from our Strapi project and generate in our Remix application. And Engine Boy says, it's been a month. I have playing games at my free time instead of digging into Next.js and TypeScript. Hey, you need to relax. My PC broke, so I had to reorder a part, but once it gets in, I want to do another replay of Cyberpunk, which is fantastic. I love me some Cyberpunk. And plus, there's so many cool games out, but I do have to try to stand, track, and manage because I do want to continue building my, I already closed that tab, my project that I'm building. And soon enough, like, I know Engine Boy volunteered, I'm going to have some people who want to help me to troubleshoot. I just realized my camera froze. This is insane. I don't like it. I don't know what happened. Let me try to reconnect my camera without breaking it. Oh God, this is not going to happen. Oh no, I have to restart the stream. I hope not. Let me try again. Let me try again. I'll be back, all. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Hold on a second. Try to fix my camera. Why? Why? All right, this is why the cats play all the time. Okay, I'll be trying to fix my camera. Although, do I really need my camera? I don't know. You could look at that frozen face. Ooh. Let's see, turn on. I'm gonna try to fix the camera without logging out of the stream. But I have a feeling I might have to plug and unplug. Oh, this is gonna be scary. God, I'm crossing my fingers. Oh no. Stream done. Then let's see it. Oh, no. Oh. And the camera's back. I got to refocus it. That was... I think my cats underneath the table like are chewing on the wires. So I didn't have to... Look at that. My eye. Okay. Wow. Okay. I think we're back. Anyway, it's fine. So if the camera freezes again, I know what to do. Reset, rethink, whatever. But I think the stream's still going. Please, somebody let me know if the stream is going. Anyway, so here we are. We know what we're going to do. We have our landing page that we know what it looks like. We're going to use this template. We know we're going to use Remix to build our application. And we know we're going to use Strapi. So the first thing I do when I create an application, I build the minimum possible thing where I'm able to get some data from my backend and render it to my frontend. Because if you have that full circle where you have your backend and you're able to connect to it, and then you're able to get that data on your frontend, that's a good start. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually start with Strapi first. So I'm going to literally use this command here, and we're going to get started. So in my working seller, clear. In my working directory, I'm gonna do npx create Strapi app. My mic is like right in my way in front of my keyboard, so it's hard to type. Latest, and we're gonna call this server because it's gonna be our server. And we're gonna start with our backend. And what we want to do is to create something. That's a lot of emojis. I'm assuming that's, if I were to, yeah, that's good. That's basically how I felt through the whole process of getting my camera back on. So that's pretty nice. So I'm assuming that means everything's back to normal. I hope so. So we're going to do quick start, which will set up our local instance of Strapi running with SQLite, which is perfectly fine for what we're doing. And what we want to do is basically get started with API, with our API as fast as possible. And I got to remind myself to not dingle my feet underneath the table and touch any wires, because that seems to be what freezes the camera. Anyway, so once this installed, we'll be good to go. But let me basically say hello to everybody. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Man, I changed my lighting. Looks nice. I usually like either plain wall, which was kind of cool, but having stuff in the background makes me feel like, look, he's got a keyboard. He must play. I don't know how to play keyboard. And then look, there's a treadmill. And no, Paul doesn't use the treadmill either, although he should. By the way, hope everybody's doing amazing. Thank you for joining this stream. I have no idea how many of us are here, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to stream regardless of how many people show up. And so we're installing our Strapi instance to be able to set it up in order to be able to create a API really fast. So all of that stuff is done. It automatically will run yarn build for you, and then yarn start, not yarn start, but yarn develop. And now we have this amazing Strapi application. And so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create my admin user. And I'm going to type my super secure password, monkey123, just so I don't forget it. Monkey123 for everything, everyone. And so here we are in Strapi. And the coolest thing, we literally already done. We have a working API. It's all set. We're literally now able to start adding data in order to get it served up to our front end. And if we take a look at our website here, this is a simple one-pager, right? Oh man, they didn't implement the navigation. We'll get it working, don't worry about it. So this is our one-page website, but we might have multiple pages, right? We'll start it with the idea that it's going to be a one-pager, but we're going to make our backend flexible enough that in the future, if we have pages, it's going to be awesome. So we want to basically create a content type for our backend called page or pages for multiple to be able to serve these pages to our front end. So that's what we're going to do. So in Strapi, we have this thing called the content builder, where you are able to create collection types, which could be post, pages, products, whatever your imagination desire. Single types you can use if you want to create like just one thing. Maybe you have like about page or single type of content, which I literally never use this because I don't really know what a single thing that I'm going to create. Usually like it's posts, pages, products. And so I just create collection types. And then we'll talk about components and dynamic zones today, which is going to be awesome. But first, let's create a new collection type. We're going to call it pages or page. And there's advanced settings. We're not going to worry about it. Draft or publish. True means that every time you edit the page, you need to publish it before people will see the changes. So I'm going to keep it the same way here. So let's go back, and so let's click continue. And just for the most basic thing, for our page, we want to have the title, then we're going to keep it short tags. And if you go to the event settings, there's all these other options you could do. And for us right now, we're not going to worry about it because we're going to start nice and fast. Let's add another field. Let's call it description. And description is just going to be what the page is about, just so we know what it is. And we're going to make it long text. And then we're going to add another field called ID, and we're going to get a slug. And we're going to use this to find our page. So finish, save, let it do its magic. Yeah, I'm all about, wow, come on. Welcome to Coffee, Code, and Cry. Yeah, there's definitely going to be crying. Don't you worry. And Sharon, yes, I'm all about my moody lighting because I'm a kid of the 80s, like from the 80s. This is like my thing, that moody lighting, that retro style music. That's me. 80s style sports cars, which I don't own or have, but maybe one day. But by the way, thank you for jumping in for Coffee, Code, and Chat. If you haven't been here before, welcome. Are these streams fun? I have no idea, to be honest. But thank you to all of you who are here hanging out with us. I appreciate you a lot. I know it's Friday night, that every time I stream, I'm like, nobody's going to show up. People have lives. People have stuff to do. Everybody's partying. I don't party on Friday nights. Unless you call this a party. Because actually, this is a party. I party with you on Friday nights. Let's just keep it that way. And then Saturday mornings I stream as well. So Friday night, Saturday morning is like my streaming work day for which I don't get paid. But I love it. It's fun. I get to code. I get to talk about code. So no biggie. So back to our project here. And so we have our basic page content type. So now I'm going to create a new page. We're going to call it home page. We're going to call it description, home page. I'm going to call it home page. This is where you can't type, find your home page, right? This is like the worst description ever. Home page. This is where you find your home page. And we have our home page. You're going to click save and publish. So now we literally have an API where we're able to request the page and get it. And so before getting a page, right, I need to give permission. And first of all, let me pull up Insomnia. This is my favorite tool of choice to make API requests to test APIs. And so before working on our front end, I just want to make sure that we have a working backend. And so I believe we'll be going to this endpoint, API pages, to get our pages. And right now, if I click send, notice it says forbidden. Why? Because all of this is, oh my God. We'll have to get Dennis soon. I want to go on his stream. We're going to do it. I'm just, he's a busy man. But yeah, like new retro wave, that is my jam. That's my favorite music style. So I'm learning music just so I could make more music in that particular style. By the way, I suck at music, but that's my goal. That like every time my YouTube, like if you look at the music I listen, it's like new retro wave, so awesome. So to me, that's like where I live. Love the chilled vibes. That's so cool. So this is forbidden because we got to give permission to our API to allow us to make the request. So I'm going to go in Strapi, go into settings, go into roles, go into public. go into pages, and we want to find one or find all. I'm going to click save. And now when we go back, make the magic happen, I click send, check this out. We are getting our data. And so now our backend pretty much is done, kind of, pretty much. You know, it's giving us data that we want. So the next step is for us to be able to get this basic data on the front end before we get anywhere further. So now we're going to start working on our front end. And to make it easier for us, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, I created this repository that will basically set up a very bland Remix project with Tailwind, nothing else. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go here, Control C. I'm going to do git clone. And I'm going to call this client. And let's do this. There, you know, there's Miami Vice for sure. But pretty much any good 80s movie or show like had this type of similar music. So for me, I'm like living the dream, basically. So, all right. So let's see here. So let's go to our client. I should probably also run yarn to install all the dependencies, which is, wait, God damn it. You got to switch to the folder where you installed the thing. No big deal. Okay, let's go cd client. That's where we at. And then we're going to run yarn. Let us install all the Remix specific packages. And then we're going to start a project, take a look at the code and see what we have. And again, since it's started, there should not be much there except Tailwind. By the way, let me know how you all doing. How's everybody doing? And any one of you who ever wants to come on this fantastic stream and chat, let me know. I would love to have guests on. And if I want to have guests, I'm not sure to have like people that I like, you guys and girls, instead of just like randomly getting like people, unless like someone's really cool, I guess I would have them. Okay, so now let's open it in our code editor and we'll go over our project. Yes, trust my computer, of course. Let me zoom in a little bit more because this is fantastic. And then the next thing I want to do here is I want to go to Peacock, change favorite color so we know what it is. And that's a great color. That didn't change the color. Change my favorite color, blue. Let's go with something different. I like this. And so basically right now what we have, and let me run the application so we take a look. What do we have? So taking a look, we basically have a basic application. And when it starts, let's navigate. Welcome to Remix and Tailwind Hello World basic starter that I basically created by using this tutorial, so you don't have to do it every time you want to add Tailwind to Remix. It makes sense. And so let's take a look at the code. So Remix is a React full stack framework. And all you have to know at the end of the day is React, and that's it. And Remix just makes you write less React code, and that's what I like it. And so currently, this is the message you see inside our routes index JSX file. This is where we're going to do majority of our work. But if you take a look at the root, here, let me zoom out here. This is the root of our application. And basically, if I wanted to put a navigation, right, and show on all the different other pages, this will be nav. And if I wanted to add a footer, right, I would put it underneath this outlet. And this is where this would be footer. This is where our footer goes. And see, boom, this would be a footer. This would be perfect. So this is our entry to our application. Everything that we have in our routes will be rendered via this outlet. If you're familiar with React Router, this is based on that because Remix was created by the same team that created React. act router. And so most of our code is going to be here today because we're making a single page landing page. And most landing pages are single page websites because they literally will just give you one thing to do. You either buy the thing, you either sign up for the service, or you leave. And that's kind of what we're going to do. And so we know that we have our page. So now we want to get our data. We know we are able to get the data because we are able to get it here. We're making a request to this endpoint and we're getting the data. And the reason why we couldn't connect to the server, because I most likely killed the server. So let me do shell, duplicate tab, cd server, yarn develop. So we know everything works. We know our backend works, our Strapi instance that we set up. And so now if I test that again, perfect. We are able to get our data. So let's connect our application to be able to get data from our backend. And in Remix, it is super easy the way it's done. And by the way, if you at any moment have any questions, just let me know. Tell me, I have a question, even if it's something silly. There's no silly questions. Just go and ask. So what we're going to do, we're going to basically copy this. And so we have it for later. And we're going to create a way for us to load data. So if you want to get data, every time you land to this route, this is a route. So whenever we land on this route, we have two amazing functions in Remix. One's called loader function and one's called action function. Action allows you to post data or mutate data, update data, where loader basically will fire a get request. So any get request will basically go inside the loader function that runs on the backend. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a loader function that we could export here, async, and we need to call it loader because, not action, Jesus Christ, loader. We need to call it loader because that's what Remix is going to look for. And so we do need to get the naming right. And so when this runs, basically all our backend code will have to be here. And so we will get some data and we'll return something from here. But for now, what am I doing? This doesn't live here. This needs to be its own thing. And by the way, do I cry during live streams? Yes. Do I fail during live streams a lot? People think I'm an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm like some random dude who's trying to make it happen. And my camera froze again, which is perfectly fine. We know the deal how to unfreeze the camera. I just unplug and plug it in, which is no big deal. One day I'll have to figure out why the camera is freezing because that's not cool, but we're back. Look how quick that was. That was fantastic. And not a good fix, but a hack that allows us to continue with the streams. So now we basically will do something in this loader function and return something. And the way and let's call this data for now. And the way we're able to access this return item is to use it's called use loader data hook equals use loader data hook that we are actually getting from Remix run, which is the application that we're using. And then let's console log and see what we get. So basically you have this loader function that allows you to get the data. So let's check it out. Let's refresh, inspect, not view page source. You inspect, console log. We will handle that. What is happening? Too many errors here. I will have to figure out what that error is. But for now, check this out here. If we ignore those scary warnings, not even an error, it's a warning, but I have to see what this is. I must have done something weird somewhere. We'll fix it later. But for now, check this out. We are getting our data from the loader. So the loader function runs on the server. It will do our get request or whatever logic we want to get the data. And once we get the data, we have access. So now let's go ahead and get our data. So I'm going to do a little, and we eventually will save this to env variables, but for now I'm going to just use it here as a variable. Should probably be in quotes. That would probably make sense. And then what we're going to do, we're going to make a fetch request, that's not a word, to our base URL. We also have ability to pass queries inside here in order, because we're going to use, we want to get the page by the slug. So we are going to pass a query inside here. And instead of using, yeah, we'll do this here. And we're going to have a query variable. And query, which we'll talk about in a second. And right now it's going to be blank. It's not going to be anything. We'll get to that. And then we're just going to append the query here. And because query is blank, that should be fine. And now what we want to return from here, we want to return our response and see if we actually getting any of our data. So I'm going to do const. And again, I'm literally using fetch here. Data equals await response JSON. And fantastic. And let's return the data. And let's see if we have access to it. Fingers crossed. A lot of times I'm always breaking stuff, so it is what it is. But we'll see. We'll see how it's going. And if you haven't smashed the like button, you don't have to smash the like button, but smash it for your friends. So check this out. We are getting our data. We're getting our pages data, which is fantastic. So we know that we're getting our data from our backend. So our front end is set up to get our data from the backend. So one thing that I want to do, I want to be able to, by the way, right now we're getting an array of everything, but we want to just get the data by the slug. And so you're actually able to pass query strings, which allow you to filter by the thing that you want to filter. And so a good way, and there's a good way and a bad way. So for instance, if I want to make like, let's use this. So if I want to make additional like filters, I could put filters, and I could do, I don't even know how to like this is so confusing writing like filters inside the URL, because like it's so easy to make a mistake. I think like this would work, but I'm not sure, like, right? So, okay, that works. So this is getting our slug by home. What happens if I do this and this? And I'm probably not writing this right. And so instead of trying to figure out how to do the notation inside the query string here, what I like to do actually is use this library called QS. QS and NPM. And what this does, it allows you to write your queries in a more human readable way, because what you're able to do is you're able to write your queries in an object form like way, and there's other things you could do. So just trust me, this will be an easier way. Take my word for it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install this to my front-end project. So Control C, that's the server, run one. And if you have any questions, let me know. Yarn add QS, yarn dev. And what this will allow us to do, it will allow us to use QS to create query param URL strings like with ease. That's what we're going to do. And I do have to figure out what this warning's for. I'm not sure. I'll figure that out later, but it's no big deal. It's not a break and change. So we basically want to pull in our QS library here, import QS from QS, and then we're going to do const query, and we're going to make it a function to which we could pass params, which will be a slug. And we're going to return qs.stringify. And now inside here, we could pass our query. And if you're not sure what type of, like how to do querying in Strapi, it's not super easy if you've never done it before. But the good news is you could go to Strapi documentation. You could click get started. It'll take you to documentation, and you could do query. And then I'll show you query engine API, ordering and populating. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, so this is basically shows you here, look, you could pass query where you could say where something equals something or what you want to filter by and populate. So, and this actually, I'm showing you the wrong thing here. Let me go back here. Query rest. So here we go. Nope, that's, again, I'm showing you the wrong one. Let me do rest, API, sort, pagination right here. So here's the right thing. So you're able to use QS to build your queries. And basically this is what we're doing right now. We're going to put all our options in here, what we want. And if you want to learn more about all the options that are available to you, you could reference the documentation. And what I'm going to basically do in my code here is do filter, and we're going to filter by slug. And we're going to pass a slug inside here. And that's what we're going, and then we're going to, we actually don't need this here. I could have defined it inside this function, but whatever. And we're going to call query, and we're going to pass our slug, which is going to be home. So now in theory, it should only return our home page. And we could test it out in a second by creating another page and giving a look. But let's see right now what's happening with our application. And if you don't have any comments, that is perfectly fine. But if you do, ask questions, ask away at any time. So we're still getting our data, and we're still getting one array which has our data here, which is our home page. And let's do a little test here. Go to our backend and add another page. I have too many things open. Where's my local host? Localhost 1337. Let's log into our application. Man, one day I need to spend time on like typing faster, you know? Otherwise, this is crazy. So, okay, perfect. So, and again, right now we're kind of starting at the beginning, but what I'll do, I'll create a starter template for Strapi as well, so we wouldn't have to go through here. But right now I'm going to create another page called About. This is the About page. And then slug is going to be About, and then save. And so in theory now, when we go back and make that response, like here, check this out. Like right now, when we make this response to pages, I got to publish it. Don't forget to publish stuff, publish. Now, when I make a call to this endpoint, notice I'm getting both pages. I'm getting home page and I'm getting about page, but we want to just get the home page. And so let's go to our application here. And by the way, I'm going to console log query here to kind of show you what this looks like, by the way. Just so you could see why it's easier to use the QS to do filtering, especially when you start getting nested filtering, than using, let's say, just manually typing. And if you're not sure what I'm babbling about, you will see in a second. So let me query this. I'm going to do... so I could see it. Query. Okay, and because everything that's in this loader function runs in the backend, that's where I have to look for this. So let me go back to my front end first, refresh. Okay, that's fine. And now let's take a look at here. And here you are. You see our query string, which was automatically stringified for us using the QS library. And writing this manually is so easy to make the mistake. That's why I use the QS. Now I'm going to copy and paste that string for a second and test it in Insomnia to make sure that we're getting just the homepage. So notice now we're getting both about and homepage. Now when I run, I'm getting still both pages. So I'm going wrong somewhere, something going wrong. And I will have to figure out where. This is annoying, but this is why I do these live streams, because you get to see what's happening wrong and right. And my camera is, I'm super upset right now with my new camera setup because stuff just breaks and doesn't work, but I'll fix it. So this is a great question. We'll come back to the thing right now. Do I like Next or Remix? I like Remix way more than Next.js. Next.js is still really good, and if you need just static site, Next.js is perfect for that. And by the way, if I have a choice, I will use Remix. But if I work somewhere or someone says, hey, can you build a project with Next.js? Of course, I'm going to build a project with Next.js. It's not a problem, not a big deal. I am kind of curious why my filtering is not working. That is kind of upsetting to me because it should work. And I am not sure why it's not working. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let's take a look here. Let's see here. I'm going to simplify this. So query home, we're getting the thing that we need. It is slug. Pretty sure I called it slug. Unless something changed. And I have to be specific, like saying slug equals to whatever. But let me go back here for a second. Yeah, because it should only filter to get with the slug. Slug equals home. I called it slug. Slug is home. So slug. Let me change this to title. See if it. No, doesn't care. It doesn't care. It's like, you know what? I don't care. Filter. Is it plural? Oh, it's plural. So a typo. So home. Now let's do the get about. Yeah, so my mistake, which is an easy fixable mistake, is spelling. So basically, the reason why it didn't work is because this should be filters, not filter. And we figured it out. So now we know we're able to make a request. We're able to get our data, and we know that we're getting the data based on the slug that we're getting. And again, I focus on getting things to work first and then basically working on refactoring later. So we're going to kind of go fast. So now we know we're getting the data, and to kind of show you that we're getting the data, we are getting the console log here. Let me refresh first. And here's our data. Boom, boom, boom. And so now what we want to do, we want to have a way to create components on our page dynamically. So before I take a look at the comments again, so if we look at where's our page that we're building? I think I had it open in Safari. So this is the website that we're building. This is what we want to build. So I want to be able to dynamically tell Remix to render these components. So we might have a header component. This could be called call to action, whatever it is, then this could be like a widget, this could be features. And so I needed to tell Remix to dynamically to generate these components. So how do we do this? We're going to start on Strapi first. So we're going to create this ability for our editors to choose which components they want to do. And so the first thing we're going to do is create this component. So this component has an image, and this component has a heading, subheading, and a link. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create this. We could also create this as a standalone component, a link component. And instead of confusing you and talking about it, let's go into our Strapi instance and do it. So here's my Strapi page and application. So I want to have an option where here I could dynamically select components. Before we do that, we're going to create our first component. So I'm going to go to Content Type Builder. I'm going to create a new component, and this is going to called not header, like call to action. We're going to call it CTA, call to action. And we're going to have a group of components called page components. So I'm going to create a page kind of subheading that all of these components are going to live under, and click continue. So our CTA will have our header text. Then our CTA also has our sub header text, which will be a long text. No, we'll keep it short text. And then we'll also have a description. I don't know. Do we need a description? Let's take a look here. Blah, 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 blah. Wait, where's the... Yeah, so heading, subheading, and link. Yeah, that's fine. So let's go. Let's stick with that. So we don't need this. We have header, subheader, and let's create link. Now link, we could create a thing which would be a link, but we might want to have something that is a component, which is because a component is basically a collection, not a collection, a group of related fields. So I'm going to create a component called link, and it's going to live in our pages. And this link component is going to have two fields for now. And the first field is going to be text, which is going to be what you want to show. And the second component, which is going to be our ref, or the link that we want to navigate to. So finish and save. And so we have our header component taking shape. And the last thing our header component needs is this image. So let's go ahead and add a new field called image. And it's going to be a single media item. And we go to advanced setting. We don't want to allow movies or songs or files. We just want images. So we're going to finish, because that's what we're going to use, and click save. So now we have a component called CTA, which basically mirrors this HTML component that we have here, which we haven't created yet, but we will. And let's take a look at a quick question. So as people are wondering, can you host it on Vercel? You probably can. I haven't tried it. I usually use Netlify, but Remix has its own place to host. But I go with Netlify. My stack is like Netlify for my front end and DigitalOcean for my back end. But they also have their own provider as well. So, all right. By the way, love all of you who are listening to me on a Friday. You don't have to. You could be doing all these other things. So I really appreciate you so much. So thank you. Don't leave. Please stay. I need the friends. So anyway, so let's now see the magic of Strapi outside of already pretty magical, seeing the fact that we can create components that group related fields to allow us to have structured content in our editor, to allow our editors easy way to add data to our website. So now we go to our content type, to our page, and let's figure out how do we optimize this to allow our content editors to dynamically get the things, right? And so we're going to create what we call a dynamic zone. So I'm going to go to content type builder because we don't have that yet. We're going to go to our add another field, and we're going to add our dynamic zone, which allows you basically add items that an editor could dynamically choose. And we're going to call this blocks, because this is going to be blocks that someone could use to build out their page. And then we're going to add our first component that we already have, use an existing component, and we have our CTA, and click finish. And now we have our page, which has this ability to add additional data. And we're going to click save. And now check this out. I am able to go to my content manager, go to our page, we'll go to our home page. And if I'm an editor, now I have this way, be like, hey, we need a CTA action in our website. I'm able to click, and I'm able to add this dynamic component. And this is our, I don't know why I wanted to do capitals, header. Hey, you all beautiful people. Whoa, I spelled beautiful right. Love you all. Did I not add an image component? I did not add an image component. We're going to do that in a second. And then I'm going to, oh, I added the image to the wrong component. Easy change. But to our link, we're just going to do click me. And for now, we're just going to go home, like to home. And I got to fix this. And this is the coolest thing. Like, hey, you made a mistake in Strapi. No big deal. This image should not be here, right? So I'm going to go to my content builder, go to my link, and I'm going to delete this image. That doesn't belong there, right? And so the image should be in our call to action. So I'm going to add another field to this component called media, and we're going to call it image, single media, finish, save. So now those changes will save. I'm going to jump back to my content manager, go to my home page, and now I'm able to add my image. And the image that I'm going to add, I'm going to steal this image because I don't have it. And then I'm going to go to my backend here, add an image, browse files, browse. We're on my desktop, and it's called Sally. Open, upload, and finish. And so, boom, we created our first header component. And now we're going to make a similar component in our front end. But before we do that, I'm really big on making sure if you make changes on your back end, what you need to do is make sure that you first test your API to make sure that you're able to get those items. So let's check that out. Let's test it out. So I'm going to go to Insomnia. I'm going to click send. And notice we still only get title, description, and slug. We don't get any of that additional data. And the reason why is because the way Strapi works, it doesn't want you to automatically get everything. It's very similar to GraphQL in the sense that you have to specify what data specifically you want to get back to prevent underfetching and overfetching. And that's the cool part about it. And so we're about to do that. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you so much for jumping on a Friday night, watching Coffee, Code, and Chat. If you're new to this channel, by the way, it's welcome. But I stream on Friday nights, 9 p.m. CST, and Saturday mornings where I talk more about the soft skills or how I ended up getting hired, what did I do, what I had, like I learned, and a bunch of other stuff that's related to getting hired or getting your first job as a software engineer when you're switching careers. And tomorrow I'm going to have an awesome guest talking about her journey of what she's doing, and she's still in the process. So it'll be amazing. So stop by tomorrow, 11 a.m. CST. But if you, for whatever reason, love throwing money around because you're so rich and you want to buy me coffee, you can, but you don't have to. I just throw it out there if someone has free money that they want to give away, which a lot of people don't. So no big deal. And here we are. So now what we're going to do, we're going to make sure we could populate the relationships in Strapi. And so what Strapi allows you to do, it allows you to ask for what you want. So we have this populate flag here, and we are able to pass an array of items that we want Strapi to give us. And I know that we want to populate our blocks, and I know that we want to populate our call to action. And so we could use this dot notation by going blocks, I can't spell blocks, dot, and we have CTA. And by the way, this is going to populate our blocks, and it should populate our CTA. We're going to take a look in a second and see if this is true. So I'm going to, what am I doing? I'm on the wrong page. I'm going to refresh this. And first I'm going to check this in our, I just want to get the string that we got here, filter, blah, blah, blah. I think this is the, nope, I'm the wrong one. Did I console log it? I didn't console log it. What are you talking about? Oh, I didn't console log the query string. So let me console log it again so you could see here what we're actually getting and using to make our request. I should have kept it there. I don't know why I deleted it. Yeah, this should probably be like this. And then when people like, man, coding, people make it look so easy. Coding is not easy, y'all, and it takes time to learn. And the reason why I code live is to show you, like, here, listen, this is the way, this is the process. And so don't be shy. You know, don't worry about the mistakes. Don't worry about the haters. Just keep coding, keep doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, no rush. Like, you will learn. And so here's our query that we want. And so Norse, we're basically going to query for our blocks and get back to CTA. And this is why I showed you, don't try to write these queries manually. Use the QS library. So I'm using QS here to be able to write it in a human readable way and to get a query string that allows us to make a request. So we're going to test the API. I'm going to pass the query string that we got. And right now we should be able to get our items. So notice we're getting our items, but again, we're not getting all the data because every additional relationship we need to ask specifically. So not only do we need to get our header, we also need to populate all the items within that header as well. And we have our image, we have our link component, and so I do have to ask for it. And so I'm going to do that right now. So inside our blocks, we want to populate our link. And then we also want to populate our image. Man, this song, so nice. And then let's see if that worked for us. Go back to Insomnia. Oh wait, I have to get the new query string again. I have too many windows open. I don't know what I'm doing. Let me close some of these. So close this one. There's no application error. Relax. And let me get the new query string where we're asking for all those additional items. And again, I'm doing it this way just to kind of showcase that before like doing anything on the front end, I want to make sure that we're getting the data from an API and everything works. So I click send. And did I not pass the right query string? Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, okay. Here's another thing here. Let me double check. So block, CTA, image. Am I calling him right? Yeah, and you could do that as well too. And that could be like a really good refactor engine, boy, for sure. For sure. To do the query and the API, for sure. Yeah, so let me double check something here. Make sure I'm asking for the proper names. So content manager, and people are like, man, Paul, you get stuck so much. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah, they'll tell me about it. Thank you. But the point is, okay, so link is a small L. And image, I'm kind of like curious why we're not getting all the items. I'm gonna have to go and do some reading. That's why I like relying on the documentation and like reading it, because like it's so hard to remember everything, and with practice eventually everything will get better. So let's see here. So image, slug, filter, slug, image, populate, block, CTA link, populate, send. Okay, so nice. So we're getting our, and so we are able to get our slug, we're able to get our description, we're able to get our target, we're able to get our blocks, where we get our CTA block, we get the header, and then the subheader. Okay, and then to populate CTA image. And so I believe the reason why this is not working is that I believe I need to give permission, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Let's see here. Where's my Strapi instance? Although, like, I don't think you need to give permissions. We're gonna give it a try. Roles, because a lot of the endpoints are basically, no, I believe that is the case. So the reason is we don't have access to our images, because when you start with Strapi, and this is, I'm glad that I'm running into all these issues. When you start with Strapi, your API is locked down. You got to give permission. So I believe if I go here and click find and find one to be able to add items from our upload folder, I think this should now work. And I'm probably wrong. And I am wrong. I'm doing something wrong. So, oh wait, did I hit save? Let me refresh. Let me see what we're getting in console log here. Inspect console log. Yeah, and by the way, if you're new to coding, this struggling, that's a normal part of coding, right? It takes time, it takes work. So we have our blocks, we have our component, and it's not populating the image. So I am doing something terribly wrong, and it has nothing to do with the permissions like I thought I did. So image, link. I'm kind of curious why. It's not the end of the world, but we will work. We will work. Let me take a break by chatting in the comments to the few awesome people there in the chat here. Smash the smashing button, which is probably like there's only like few of you, so don't have to smash so hard. So Paul, have you built any projects with Node and Mongo? I don't like to use Mongo. I've done in the past, but even if I do use Node or Express, I still go with Postgres. And there's two ways that I chat with the database. One, if I hate myself, I will use Connects, because you have to write everything yourself. But lately, again, I'm lazy. if I would use Express or Koa or Node, I would use Prisma. So Prisma allows you to set up a very nice, it's an ORM, which allows you to deal and work with database super easily. And that's been like my approach lately. So, but I'm kind of curious like why I'm not getting an image, because I'm not sure if it's like me broken or my update to my Strapi application. It's probably me. It's most likely me. So what I'm going to do for now, not to kind of hurt our our progress, we're going to get to just move forward and we'll fix it as we get there. We know that somehow I am not popping the image. I'm kind of curious here. I'm going to try something different here. But it's probably not gonna work. And then, so here's a very important tip. So notice I'm like stuck on like one thing forever, right? Here's very important tip. So notice like I'm like struggling, like, oh my God, like I can't figure this one. Here's the rule that I'm using right now. And I've been subconsciously doing it, but here's the thing. If you struggle on the problem, you try it once, it doesn't work, try it again. You try it twice, it doesn't work, try it a third time. Third time it doesn't work, move forward, move on. You can't try to spend 20 hours trying to troubleshoot something, walk away, do something different, try something else. So what we're going to do for now, we're going to come back to that later. You know, we're not going to worry about it. And so we're going to move on and make progress, because imagine me right now not being able to figure out why we're not able to populate the image, and I'm struggling through it and I'm having a hard time and it pains me and nothing happens. And I kind of figured out the mistake actually, but now we are getting the image and I'll show you the reason why. And it's me not quite understanding, you know, the populate and Strapi, because there's many ways of doing things. And I'm using the dot notation, which is new for me, but I did figure it out. So the idea is, for relationships, before I had CTA, because I was assuming I had to signify like, hey, like I want you to look inside that CTA component, return the image. But for relationships, what works is this, just basically putting blocks.image. And again, always refer to Strapi documentation to learn more about it, but now it works. And so I was going to take a break and not try to solve the problem, but we figured it out. So now if I look here, check this out, meta, we go, not metadata, we go to our items that we're returning, we go to our blocks, and notice inside our blocks, we're getting our CTA component, and we're getting our image that we uploaded, which is fantastic. And we have all the data that we need. So nice. We are getting the data. So now we're able to move on to the next step, which is building our component. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first do a basic component that will be our CTA component on the front end. And I'm going to mirror it based on our component in the back end. So we have this call to action component, and it has a header, subheader, link, and image. And to cheat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our amazing template that we have here. So I'm going to open this folder, go open this in my code editor. And so this is our HTML. And so I think our, yep, this is our menu. And I think our heading component lives here. So let me kind of rip this out here for a second. So let me do this, control copy. So I'm gonna copy that HTML from my template that I have. And by the way, before I move forward, really important, whenever you're using a template, sometimes the template will come with custom CSS. And so make sure you open with Visual Studio Code, you use the custom CSS that it comes with. So I'm going to copy the CSS, and now inside our Remix application under our Styles app CSS, we're able to add additional custom CSS. So perfect. That's added. So now we could continue to our next step, which is to create our component. And so because we're using HTML, And what I'm going to do is right now, I'm going to delete this and I'm going to paste that code inside here. And whenever you're using with HTML, you have to reactify it. And one thing you have to do is change all the class attributes to class names. So we're going to find class and we're going to change it to class names name. And then there might be additional things, but for now, everything looks good here. That's our navigation, which we'll redo here. So let's see what happened. Let's go to our front-end application. And boom, we have our navigation. We have our header. And we'll fix the images in a second later. And for now, I'm going to keep it simple. Just so not to mess with the clouds, we'll add them later. But for now, I'm going to just console log the cloud images inside our code. Let's see here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up. So we don't need the navigation at the moment. We're going to fix the navigation later. So let me delete the navigation here. Then I'm going to find all the images here for the cloud. So cloud 1, cloud 2, cloud 3, and we're going to fix this later, but not at the moment. I just want to get the basics done and we'll come back to this. And what we'll do, we'll continue this, but right now I just want to keep it super simple. So now we have our component. So now let's turn into an actual React component. So what I'm going to do, the code that I wrote here, I'm going to take it out and create a new component that we could use. So inside the app folder, I'm going to get a new folder called component. Man, Spirit Bell, if you're going to smash the like button, you always have to do it at odd numbers. That's how it works. But I appreciate it. I appreciate you, my brother. I really love, I feel the love. I feel the love so much. Components. And then we're going to create a new component, new file. And whenever I work with Strapi, whatever I called my component in Strapi, right? I called it CTA, right? This is our content builder, CTA. That's what I'm going to call it inside my Strapi applications. We're going to create a new file, cta.jsx, rfc, CTA, and we're going to post our HTML here. Look how beautiful this looks. This is awesome. And then we know that we're going to have, oh, this is how they did it. We're gonna simplify this a little bit for now. We'll come back to this later. They have a thing where they have like, you know, different color on it. We'll come back to that. You know what? We'll come back to that. We're gonna keep it simple. But we know that in our Strapi app, what do we have? We have our header, subheader, and our link, which has our text and ref and our image. So we know here we need our header text. We know that this is going to be our subheader. And the reason why did I call it subheader? I should have called it subheading. I should have called it heading, subheading. We could change that later, but for now I'm going to call it this way, subheader. And this is going to be passed through our props. And we'll destructure it, but right now it's gonna break. So I'm going to kind of hard code it right now. Header, we'll fix it. Don't worry. Equals header, subheader. Just so we could render something that's not broken. The image stuff we'll take, and the link we're gonna handle in just a minute. But first, we created a React component called CTA. And so let's use that component to make sure that it works. inside our index, I'm going to import my CTA component. It's going to take data, which we don't have yet. I mean, we have our data, but we're not utilizing it yet. And let's import CTA from component CTA. And so now going back to our application, we should see our header. Fantastic. So now we need to dynamically be able to add the data from the thing that we're doing. But more importantly, what we want to do is tell Strapi to dynamically choose what to render based on the thing that we want. So before actually creating this, check this out. When we console log our items and we take a look at the data, we're getting an array, and then which has our page. And within our page, we have this thing called blocks. And what we want to do is we want to take a look at the blocks, and based on the type of block it is, we want to return that type of block. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a function that is actually in charge of that. So inside here, let me close this because we know we're already getting the data. This works. We know this works. So let's not console log it. Man, that just to me looks so silly like this. I'm actually because like I don't know. I don't know. This is probably stupid to do it like this. But it's just too many queer string param, like queer, like whatever. This is kind of like, I don't know what looks cleaner. You could tell me. That should still work. I think that's like less of a headache for me when I see that. Okay, so anyway, I had to refactor that. So now what we're going to do, we're going to create a function, and we could call it here, or we could, let's put it here. And because we have this concept of blocks, let's create a function called block renderer. And wow, actually, interesting. Not quite what we wanted to do, but close, very close. So what we're going to do, we're going to return our blocks, and not block, it should be plural. We're going to map through our blocks and map. That'd be funny if there's a map function which like mops up all the code and like whatever. And we're going to return back block and index just so we could control. And inside here, we're going to return our switch statement. Am I missing something somewhere? Semicolon. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Okay, let's try this again. So no. I wanna type it myself. Switch. And inside the switch, we're going to get our block. And in our case, by the way, it's not what Copilot recommends. I think we are getting back our components, and then we're going to check for this for our block component, and we're going to see, does our block component equals block CTA, which is, I know that's our name, and if so, we're going to return our data. We're going to return our CTA component, and then we're going to return. Hold on a second. This is bugging me because I think I have to return it. Case default. Man, I love these streams because people are like, man, what is going on? What is going on? I don't know what's going on half the time. So I'm doing my best, learning slowly. So too many doohickeys. Parsing valid assignment pattern, invalid pattern name block. Did you mean blocks? Yes, that's why. So no, this is block. What are you talking about? Oh, you jerk. Mistypo. Gentlemen, ladies, please type things correctly, because that's what happens if you don't. So, okay, so now basically what we're doing is if the block exists, and we'll console log this to see what we get. Return that block. If it doesn't exist, don't return anything. So let's see what we do here. And then here, instead of doing CTA here, we're literally going to return our, not return, but we're going to call our block renderer, and we're going to pass our blocks. And so now in theory, oh God, I broke it when I did my refactor earlier. So query is not a function. So query, let me see here, fetch. Okay, that. Await fetch. And do base URL. I refactored that. No. Hold on now. I'm going to fetch and then one more. These semicolons are killing me. Okay, now it should work. I refactored that wrong. Cannot be properly defined reading blocks. So let's troubleshoot. So why is it not working? Because I believe we're getting data. Why? How I know this is if you console, like, let's refresh. Okay, let's take a step back. Let's not worry about this at the moment. Let's see if I try to rush, things happen. So let's console log data and see what we actually get back. When we console log data, we get our data, which is, and let me do .data. This is going to get our array with one item. We want to pull off our thing from there. So we're going to do const project equals, not project, but page. Let's call it page. And we're gonna get this. And by the way, if you're like thinking that you need to do like more tutorials to code, look, I'm literally just coding and failing and struggling. That's what you need to do. You don't need tutorials. You need to work on struggling through building things from scratch. That's how you get better at development. So we're getting our page. We have access to our attributes page, and then blocks, const blocks comes from our page dot attributes dot blocks, and let's console log blocks. And now we have our blocks. Perfect. So now we figured it out. And maybe I could just do this instead. Actually do this. And then we don't worry about this. So we're still getting our blocks. Attributes, data. Attributes. And a lot of times people are like, man, watching somebody else code is boring. Of course it is. So thank you for being here. And I hope I try to make it fun. And that's why I love when you talk in the chat, because I love to hear from you and chat with you about anything while we're coding, ask questions. So now we're getting our blocks. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass my blocks to my block renderer. And now we should see those blocks here. And if I refresh, and we are able to see our blocks from our block renderer. And so now if component equals page.cta, so this should be page.cta. So we have the data. We're checking if we have a block called page.cta, which we do. If we do, let's render that block with the data. And perfect, we're getting. So now we're getting our block from our backend. And now let's pass and handle those attributes. So I love it. We're making Beautiful progress, beautiful, beautiful progress. And that's all we want to do. We want to slowly make the progress. We want to work through things. Looking at the comments. I hope you all beautiful people doing so good, so good. And thank you for being here. I appreciate the love. I code on Friday nights either way, so it's nice the fact that I have a few of you just chilling, hanging out. That's awesome. We have our block editor working, so now we are going to go to our CTA, and we know we're getting our data. So let's console.log our data and slowly work through it. So inside, actually, let me remove the other console logs, so we don't have too many console logs here. All right, so we have our data, and inside our data, we have our header, sug header. I definitely misspelled it wrong. I will have to fix that later. That is interesting. So from our data, let's the structure. Actually, it bothers me now. I'm gonna change everything now, because sometimes, like, if you do too many mistakes, it's important to fix things. So we're gonna go to our page CTA, and we're going to fix it. So here we're going to fix this to heading. And then we're gonna fix this to subheading. Finish. Everything else should look good. Let's go back here to our application. Refresh. Let's take a look. And now we have our subheading and heading, and then because we renamed it and changed it in our database, we need to actually add those attributes. Not attributes, but something for them. So in our content home, let's add here for refresh link CTA. Oh, I need to redo this again. So let's delete this, add new one. So CTA, here we go, add another. So heading. This is heading. Hello world. Let's add an image, and then let's add a link. Click me, and then save. That looks good. And now go back to our application, refresh. Let's take a look at our data that we're getting back. So now we're getting the heading, subheading. So let's now pass it to our component, CTA component. So we have our data. So const, we have heading, we have subheading, we have link. And so let's do here, we're gonna be our heading. And then let's pass our subheading. Isn't live coding so excited? I'm excited. I hope you all, by the way, let me know in the comments, like the few of you who are here, how many of you do a lot of live coding yourself? And even not live coding, but when I say live coding, I mean like building something from scratch yourself without, like, notice how I'm not looking at any tutorials. Like right now, I'm literally just making mistakes and trying to figure out like how I made the mistakes and what to fix. So look at this. We're getting our data dynamically. This is so awesome. Like, check this out. This is a heading. Save. Look at this. Our backend dynamically pushing data to our front end. This is awesome. So now let's get the picture, which will be important for us to get. And we want to get the image. Man, everybody's so quiet, but that's okay. That's okay. No big deal. No big deal. I love you all. And so we want to get that image to shop first. So we have access to our image. We're going to destructure that image. We're going to const what do I want to call it? I'm going to call it image URL. And because we are working locally and I'm not using a provider to get the images, like I normally use, what do you call it? Cloudinary makes it easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a string to make sure that it, like when you use Strapi locally, by the way, I'll just show you this right now. Where's my terminal? Terminal. I'm gonna quickly show it to you here. So let me, like when you work on Strapi locally, where it does, it will save the images here in uploads folder. So what I need to do is I need to point to this upload folder. But if you're using Cloudinary, you would point to Cloudinary, and this is why I'm kind of doing this right. Yarn develop. That's why I'm creating this query string, because we want to point to the local instance of Strapi, so it looks within this folder, and it's going to be, I believe it's image, and we're gonna do one of these just in case there is no image. It'll return undefined, and it's data. I believe it's attributes URL. Thank you. And so now I think we have the image. So here are our images. I should be able to pass that image URL, and now we should have our image. And if we don't, that's because I probably mistyped something. So let's take a look here. Let me console log image. So, oh, it's data. So we do have data, image data. So we have image data. I did have that. Oops. Not the wrong one. Wrong one. Image.data. So, and I'll figure out those warnings later. Attributes. Yep. I did that. Attributes. Attributes, and then inside attributes we have name, we have formats, we do have URL dot URL. So that I did that part correct. Yeah. So we have our image. We are appending it to here. Oh, I think I need to put uploads. No, we are getting upload. No, that should work. Oh, I think I put an extra thing there. So that should be right, because there we go. I mistyping. All my mistakes are mistyping. So here we go. We got our header that's dynamically generated. And so if there's a header, so if I go here to Content Manager and delete this, save, go back to my application, nothing will render. Our block renderer is like, hey, no, I'm looking for this page CTA, but there's nothing there. So I'm going to return null. So now let's add a call to action. Let's do a link. Click me. And then let's add a heading. Hello world. And let's add a subheading all are really awesome. That's awesome. And then let's add that image. We got to click the check mark, Paul. Click. And perfect. So save. And now when we go back here and refresh, let me just move my kitty because she's been breaking the camera lately. And that works. So now let's go ahead and just adjust the quote here. Get quote. We want it to be dynamic. And so I believe we have access to our link. So inside our CTA component. And again, we could, right now it's like get it to work and then refactor. So let me console log the link to see what it looks like. Console.log link to see what we're getting. Link is undefined. Let me check inside my data. So hello world, image. You are really awesome. Heading, ID, image, subheading. That's the component. Oh, am I not? You're blah, 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 image. But I'm not returning the link. And this is the mistake earlier when I was working with Populate. I realized that what you do is you don't pass the name. Yeah, and this is why we're not getting it. I'll show you here. Check this out. Is when you populate, you avoid the parent. So CTA is the parent. And this is why it's not working. You don't do CTA.parent. You do CTA.link. So if you look at here, now we'll have access, but I'll show you. Like we have our component. CTA is the parent. So if you want to populate additional relationship, you don't need to provide the parent. You just provide the thing that you want to populate. You want to populate the link and the image. So now if we go back into our console log, you'll see it. It's there. I promise you. You know, little by little, we're making progress. So our app here. So let's check this out. So look here. Here's our link. And what I want for my link here So blah, 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 blah. Get quote right here. So I want, here would be link dot, what do we call it? Text. And then we're not going to make it a button. We're going to make it a link from Remix Run. And here we give 2, and it's going to be link.ref. And now we should have our link dynamically here. Click me. The styling is whack when we did it this way. So let me do this. Flex, should it be block? Is that why? Yeah, because button is, let me play with this a little bit here. It just doesn't like that. I mean, I just don't want to mess with the CSS, so I'm like a little bit like, it doesn't matter. We'll style it. We'll fix it. The link is fine. Anyway, so you need the link if you want it to be a link. So now when someone clicks on it, right, it's gonna go to where you need to go. And did I zoom in too much? No. Link. No, not display block. I don't know. I could cheat. Whatever. I bet I could give it a width 2 through 5, whatever. Width 1/3. 1/3. I'm cheating right now. We could fix it later because it's all CSS. I don't deal with CSS. So now, by the way, here we are. for the few of you that are here, we finally, oh my God, I'm pulling my hair out. We dynamically created a component that we have in Strapi. For instance, if I wanted to, and this is the beauty of it, I'll show you in just a second. If I wanted to add another component, like component dynamically to my website without, look, I don't have to do anything on the front end. I could within Strapi say add another CTA. Click me more. And then heading another CTA. Wow. And then let's add an image. I'll use the same image for now, just because I don't want to upload more. Save. And now when we go to our front end and refresh, look, we have another CTA. And check this out. We got to fix it a little bit. We got to fix this component a little bit. Let's do MX auto MY6, which give us a little bit margin here. That's okay. And padding Y, I don't know, like, wow, we go high. Good. I forgot that. I was thinking something else. Perfect. And now we have space. And now we have easy way dynamically add components that relate to our front-end components dynamically from the front-end. So as a manager working on this website, they could manage their content themselves. They could add additional content themselves without a developer, which is amazing. It took forever to get here, but I'm glad that we got here. And now, like, we could add another component. We could create a simple one really quick before. Let's see how long I've been streaming. I've streamed for a while. Let's do another power half hour, because I do want to create another component, because we've been kind of struggling a little bit, but that's the beauty of struggle. And if you're still here, it's great. But I'm going to just quickly show how to create another component to kind of help us here. We'll pick a simple one from our template. Let's go to, what the hell is it called? I forgot what it's called. Inertia. So we could create this component. Or this. There's a lot of components. You know what? I'm gonna create this one right here, because this is super easy. We're gonna call it call to action. Well, we already have a call to action. We're gonna call it something else. We're gonna call it shout out or something, some weird name. So I want to create this component because it's simple. So let me find it in our template. So let me open this. Okay, index. That's that. I opened the wrong one. Actually, like, open with what I'm going to do, because I know a lot of people probably drop off. Let me do a quick walkthrough of everything we did. So what we did is we set up Strapi and we created a page. And within our page, we created a dynamic zone, which allows you to select or define blocks that you could choose from to add components. We created a call to action component, which has a link, has a heading, subheading, and an image. And we are now able to get that data from our backend. On our front-end application, we created a component to basically mirror our Strapi component. So we create a call to action component, which basically will render that data that we have on the backend to our front end. And to make it very easy for us to keep dynamic, we created a block renderer function, which allows us to map through all our blocks. And if the block exists, render that block dynamically. So notice this is going to be what's building our page. So depending on the blocks that we have, those blocks would be returned. And so now, and the way we're getting our blocks from our backend, we're using our loader function to make a fetch request We're also doing some basic filtering. We're passing it to our fetch, and then we're getting that data, and then we're using our use loader data hook. We're getting that data and we're passing it. We're destructuring out our blocks because that's what we're interested in, and we're passing it to our block renderer, which is awesome. And so now let's add another component quickly. And we're going to first start with the actual component here. And we're going to call it new file. And let's say call to action is we have, and let's create a component called shout out. If we want to shout out a link or something or whatever, it doesn't make sense. I know I'm very bad with names, but it's going to call shout out. Let's create that component shout out, and we're going to pull it from our template here. So I'm using HTML template that I found. Insurance made easy. Come on, there's got to be, it's here. Insurance made easy. Insurance solution. Insurance solution. I hate when they put everything like in one thing. I think it's all the way in the bottom. I just want to pull out that component start trial. So this is just basically an HTML template that I want to use. Get a quote. I hope that's not inside the footer. Inspect. Insurance. This might be. All right, you know what? Let's do frequently asked questions. I'm like losing my head. I'm going to, no, let's see. It's got to be in here. It's got to be in here. Progressive replies. This is frequently asked questions. I bet that thing is living in the footer. Benefit. Okay, no, this is the footer. I'm kind of curious now, like where the hell, where is this? Where does this live? Inside the template. This is another thing. When you make templates, people, please put comments. Here we go. I found insurance made easy. So here's the component. I'm gonna take it out. We're gonna go here inside shout out. We're gonna paste it here. And then made easy, insurance made easy. So we're going to handle this different. We're going to have highlight text. Let's see. We're going to have const. We're going to have highlight. And highlight's going to be this. Highlight, and then we're gonna have text. We're gonna call this heading. Highlight, heading. Actually, I wanted to copy that text. I just made easy. Okay, never mind. It's gonna be heading. Boop, boop, boop. Made easy. And then we're gonna have our text. Man, I could tell like I didn't drink enough coffee, but this is how I am, like personality wise. Like I can't, like I will just code forever. I literally have to tell myself to stop, but I do want to get at least through this part. Just one more component, just to have a good kind of feel for, you know, how everything works when you have more than one component. Okay, and this is going to be our link, which we'll get to later. For now, we'll just keep it like this. And so now let's go to our index. Before popping it inside here, I'm just gonna put it down here just to make sure that it renders. And it's gonna pass our data and key. I'll do this later when we move it. I just want to make sure the UI at least works. So let's go here. All right, perfect. So we made our component for the shout out. And so now let's create a same component in Strapi. And just to kind of make it easier, let me go ahead and delete this one. So I'm going to go to my content. Oops, save. Let's go to my content type builder. And we're going to create a new component. And it's going to called shout out. Shout out. Very original name. It's going to be in our pages. Continue. Our shout out. What does it have? Our shout out component has highlight. Then we have our heading. And then we have our text. And then we also have a component, which is going to be our existing component. And we're going to use an existing component that we made called link. And finish, save. So we created that component. So now what we're going to do, we're going to add the component we just created to our pages dynamic zone here. Use an existing component, link, and finish. So now we have a way to add a link to our dynamic zone. So whenever someone goes to our page now, you'll see an additional an option. So notice when we were in our content manager before, we only had one component called call to action. Now we have another component called link. So now I'm able to add a link. This, I messed up here. I lied to you. Let's go back and fix that. We don't want to add a link. We want to add our shout out component. And I promise I will go get some sleep after this. Shout out. So go to create, nope, not create. Here we're gonna go to, let's delete link. We want to add component, use an existing component. It's called shout out. That's the one we want. Finish, save. Now our content editor, notice they could go to their homepage and they're like, I want to do a shout out. And I'll do a shout out, highlight, you are, and heading all awesome. And again, I never plan these streams. And the reason I do that is because I want to make sure that I work through stuff and struggle through. And I want to practice troubleshooting issues when I run into them. Text. This stream went on way too long, which is fine. And then we're going to add our link. Get sleep now. And then we're going to put ref for now here. Perfect. And now when we save, let's go and see if we're getting that block. So we're gonna console log our blocks here. Let's see it. My music, let me restart. Why not? And let's console log here. So we get our hello world. Hold on a second. Component. You are, yep. And so check this out. We are getting our block. And so now what we're able to do is we're able to add that to our switch statement here. We're going to do another case. If there's a, it's not page shutout. My God. It is page shutout. Never mind. And I thought, and then we're going to call our shutout component. We're going to pass the block data and the key that's needed. And next, we want to go ahead and delete this here, because now we should have access through our renderer. So check this out. We go, look, now we have our component. So if content manager wants to create another shoutout component, they could do it. Shoutout, link, add a link, and save. And now when I refresh, so check out how flexible. I need to add more padding here. So let's go add some padding there to fix that. Let me go to my CTA component. I'm gonna copy this. By the way, I realized that I wasn't utilizing the key. You need the key whenever you're iterating through items. Actually, I called it key. And we need to pass that key prop. I forgot to do that earlier, so I'm catching myself and doing it now. And then let's go back to our shoutout component, do the same thing. We're going to get our data. We're also going to get our key. Key equals key. And then let's add our margin here. So now we have more space here. Fantastic. And what's awesome now is we are able to, without having to do any changes in the code, I'm like, oh, I want the CTA be between the two shoutouts. I just move it down, click save, and then go back here, refresh, check this out. And you're able to dynamically generate content from your Strapi API, which is pretty awesome. And I know there's 2 of you left. You are true champions. Although, like, I probably wouldn't stay this long on the stream, but I'm going to power through it. We're almost done. We just have to finish the last few items here to make sure that we're getting the link content and the data dynamically here. So we're almost done. And you are true champions for staying that long. I probably wouldn't stay that long here. So in our shout out, let's console log our data. And we have our highlights, heading, and link, which link has text and ref. So let's the structure const highlight, heading, text, link. Let's delete this. And that's coming from our data. It's not heading, it's highlight. Highlight. So we have our highlight, our heading, our text, get quote. It's gonna be link.text, and this is going to be a link, and to link dot ref. And then let's import link from, import from at remix run React. Perfect. And let's take a look here. Refresh. Link is not defined. Link remix run React. Link to link test. What it's telling me link is not defined. Let me check this out. This is gonna drive me up the wall. Sometimes try restarting the error, no matching, no module remix on React is. Working client app component shout out remix. That makes no sense because I used the link in the CTA. I think it's getting so late that I'm misspelling stuff. Oh, I had to destructure it. Never mind. I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's too late. This is a lesson to all of you, is to making sure that you know when to don't do what I'm doing right now, like pushing through the hard like the thing and trying to finish, is because, and this is an important lesson for the two of you or the three of you that just left, or one of you that's just joining. I'm getting to a point where I'm tired. I'm making too many mistakes. And this is like a very important lesson. I'm going to finish this up. But before we finish, it's like the important lesson here is that, look, if you're struggling and you're making a lot of mistakes, the most important thing you could do is walk away and take a break. So we're making progress. We're doing a lot of stuff here. But when you're getting stuck and you're tired like I am, you're making stupid mistakes like I am, you need to stop. So I'm going to finish this last thing just to make sure that, you know, we are getting stuff done. And I have a whole other example here, you know, for stuff. And I didn't look at the comments for forever. Man, Spiritbell, if you're still here, God bless you. You know, Jesus. But yeah, but this is like the life of a developer. And this is why I do it, to show you like, hey, listen, all of you who thinking like, you know, and the path name to, I'm assuming this is not defined. Yeah, that wasn't defined. And so that brings me to the fact that link is not defined, because it's probably called something else. It's called, no, it's called link. Oh, text ref. What are you trying to tell me there? What are you trying to tell me that doesn't exist there? You silly console log. I promise I'm going to take a long rest after this. Console log link. What am I doing? This is what burnout looks like. No, I'm not going to burn out. I tell you. Why is it an array? Why is it an array? So that's not supposed to be an array. That's why it's breaking. So I like how I'm running into newer issues. And so let's take a look here. Let's go to our content type builder, shout out. And what I might have done, link, I added it as a repeatable component. That's not a repeatable. It should not be a repeatable component. That's why it's an array. So let's redo this. It's okay. We're going to add a component, use an existing component, select a component, single component, link. That's going to fix that error. I wasn't crazy. Page link, finish, save. Now we might have to re-add that. You are a true champion. And then Alex, I don't know if you're just jumping in. You've been here for a while. I don't know how long you've been here. I've been like getting my butt kicked with being tired, making stupid mistakes. And I should have listened to my advice and I stopped, but it's a lesson to all of you watching. This is how burnout happens. People just refuse to stop. They keep making mistakes, but we're almost done. We're almost done here. And so let me just make sure that in our content, we actually have the links now because I just renamed them. Link, shout out. So there, let me refresh here. Yeah, they're there. So that works. Nice. Okay, so that's fine. So now this should work. I'm not even going to console log that. And now link text. And this should be link.ref. And then now, perfect. Get sleep now. And I am so happy. We did it. Like, it took me forever today, this stream. Don't do what I did. I realized that I wasn't sharing my screen. No one said anything. So here's like the reason why this didn't work before Link is because I created a repeatable component in Strapi and I was returning it was returning an array. And so doing link.ref here wouldn't work because link was an array. So I went back and I changed it to be non-repeatable component, just a single component. And that's why now it works, because we have a single component, not an array, and be able to get link ref and link text. But anyway, so those of you who made this far, we're just going to do a quick review to chat about what happened. So, and I'm going to delete everything here right now. So check this out. We used Remix to create our front end. We used Strapi to create our back end, and everything was styled with Tailwind CSS, which is awesome. That's our tech stack. In our Strapi application, we created a page content type. We could create all different types of page that you want. As a editor, what you're able to do, you're able to come in here and you will start with a blank page. Notice you could create a blank page. We have a page called home. And now when you go to our front end application, you refresh, there's nothing there. There's no data because our editor did not add any content, right? So our editor is able to pick blocks, which we created. We have only two: call to action and shout out. And blocks are components that we pre-built. We created a CTA component. We created a shout out component. And inside a component, we're using another component, link. And so think of components as a way to group related fields together. And we are able to add these components to our pages via dynamic zone. So notice we added our call to action and a shout out, which gives the content editor now the flexibility to be able to add things. So maybe I want to add a shout out. You are all awesome. I am so tired, but we made it, right? And then I'm going to add a link. Click me. And then I'm going to click save. And check this out. When we go back to our application refresh, now we have our shout out. It's dynamically created. Notice how the person who's responsible for managing content did not go and have to do anything in code. They're able to do and make these changes dynamically, which is fantastic. Now, the way this works on our front end is we're using Remix and we're using a loader function to get all of our data. In order to get access to our data on our route, we're able to use the useLoader data hook to get access to the data that we called from our Strapi API. We create this function called block renderer, which will basically check what block component do we have in our response. If it matches page CTA, return the CTA component. If it matches shout out, return shout out. We created a mirror of our Strapi component in our React components. And this is why, as a developer, once I create this once, I don't have to change anything here, right? Because I created the components that map to my Strapi instance. So now I'm done. I'm done. So the job now is for the content editor. And what I like about the content editors do content and developers do developers. And you could do things in like parallel. So I don't have to worry what the content is as a developer. This is why you have this section for content editors or managers to go in here and change the data. So now the content editor is like, I need to create a call to action. Buy now. Right? Let's add an image. Heading. Super awesome thing. This is the thing you need to buy now. And check this out. I save it and refresh. Boom. We have our call to action. Super awesome thing. This is the thing you need to buy now. And what's awesome, like as a developer, I'm done. I didn't have to do any work. This was something that was able to be managed by the content editor. And so really, 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 really nice. And so the content editor could be like, you know what? I need to add another shout out. And so I'm going to pick the shout out component. You are the true champs. We are all awesome. And then click here, get sleep. And all I click save. So now, like, as a developer, I don't do nothing. This is the content. This is the owners of the website's job. This is what they do. And so now we go back. Look at this. I refresh. We have our shout out here. We have a shout out here. And the pattern that I just showed you, I know it took forever. It took forever. But based on what we learned today, you have the skills to finish the rest of your Strapi components. You have the skills to finish the rest of your React components, and you now have everything that's needed to build out the rest of this page that we are building. And I'm not gonna build out all of this on stream, but I will build this out eventually later, and you can use it as reference. But listen, this is awesome. Like, look at this. You'll be able to build out the rest of this page. And I'm going to build this out privately, not on stream. I just wanted to show you the basics, what it takes to get there. Fat buttons are always awesome. So by the way, so Alex here, Spearbill's here, but I know there's another person that's here. Who's that didn't just join? If you just joined, oh my gosh, the stream was so painful. Oh God. But we made it. But I want to know, all of you who are here, say hi in the chat. I just want to see the few that are here. But man, we made it. I can't even talk about like what we did. Oh God. But it was fantastic. I really loved it. It was nice. I literally... So Alex, how do I design? I cheat. I just find templates. I find templates and use them. And then I basically, and Alex, we need to have you on stream. Let me know. We got to make it happen. But I use templates. It's all about templates. I don't write much CSS anymore myself. I use templates. And then if there's custom thing, I'll write custom Tailwind classes, and that's a thing. And if it needs something super custom, I'll still use Tailwind, because I don't want to waste time. Like, I'm by myself. I want to rely on tech that's there. That's why I love Remix for frontend. I love Strapi for backend. I didn't have to make an API. It's just there. It's fantastic. And so that's kind of the whole idea. So for me, the goal is to, what I want to do is I want to figure out, and I'm going to do this both for Next, and I'm going to use both for Remix. I want to create a tech stack, which right now is Remix or Next, Tailwind, Strapi for backend with PostgreSQL, hosted on DigitalOcean, and the front end is hosted on Netlify. And I want to create this workflow, which I'm able to knock out once you build a bunch of these. You could create like the workflow is going to be pretty straightforward. And I basically want to create this workflow for a product, basic websites that I could build really quickly based on some of these starter templates that I will have. And so now I have like an entry level product that I could start charging people for if I wanted to, where I could build basic landing page websites that the owners of the websites could manage themselves, where once I created, they could dynamically manage their content, you know, similar to kind of like WordPress. Not quite like WordPress. WordPress is still pretty awesome. And that would be like my service that I provide. It'd be like, hey, $500 a website. You know, you get a landing page website. You get to get control of making changes, and you get to decide the template that you want. So it's going to be very structured plan, because $500 is not a lot of money. So this is something that should take me 2 days to build. So the goal is to create a foundation where I could build these templates, landing page templates, which I could do in 2 days max, for which I could charge $500. And that would be like a service that I could provide. And I'm trying to figure out how Remix or Next can help me achieve this. And right now I'm struggling through stuff because I'm like live coding and I'm doing everything from scratch, but I might have a Next starter, Remix starter, and a Strapi starter with pre-built like components that, at least on the back end, that are very common. And then I could just use a bunch of different templates, and I could basically use the starters that I have. Obviously, it's not going to take you all the way, but even if it saves 10% of the time, 20% of the time, I'll be able to quickly do stuff. And so that's the first initial part. And if that's not enough, like at least I'll be able to create a course about how to create a business by using Strapi, Next, and Tailwind. God damn it. But anyway, yeah, and thanks all of you for watching. I know it's been a long time. I'm going to start heading out if in a little bit. I stream Fridays, 9 p.m. CST time, Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. CST time. If you don't enjoy this live stream, I'm just glad that all of you came. And for the few of you that are left, we started strong, but man, there's too much struggle in this stream, so we didn't make it. Thank you for watching Coffee Code and Chat. And with that being said, I don't know why I'm sharing my screen again. That's kind of dumb. With that being said, thank you so much. I love you all. Have a great rest of the weekend. And if you just jumped on and you're like, oh my God, like it's the end of the stream. Should you watch the stream? I don't know. If you're going to watch the stream, watch it on double like speed. And whenever you want to jump off, just jump off if you're going to rewatch it, because good Lord, this was a tough one with how tired I was. Yeah, that's a good idea. I know you're going to be a Monero expert. I see you doing Web3 stuff. That's awesome, man. I would love to have you on stream one day, Spiritbell. Like, let me know if you'll be interested. I'd love talking. And Alex, of course. I love talking to people on stream. No, thank you, Spiritbell. I'd love to have you on stream. I love talking to actual developers that are doing the thing. Like, I'm sick and tired of... I'm not sick and tired. There's plenty of good YouTubers and influencers out there, but I want real people. I want to have, like... This is the thing, like, all the struggle I went through out of my own stupidity for like being too tired, making stupid mistakes, and not calling a day too early, trying to, like, this is stuff that nobody talks about, and this is so important. Yeah, we'll have to schedule something, Spiritbell. I'll hit you up on Twitter, or you hit me up on Twitter, DM me, like, if I forget, because in my current mental state right now, I'm gonna probably forget. But yeah, I want to literally show the reality of what it's like programming. And I know it's not glamorous, but this is the reality, and this is what it takes, you know. And Alex 2.0 show coming soon. Yeah, definitely 100%. And so thank you, Alex and Spiritbell, for staying, and the one incognito person in chat here. And hope you have a great weekend. I'm going to try to eat, try to get some rest, and probably not sleep enough tonight, but definitely stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'm going to have a guest on. We're going to talk about her journey of getting started in web development and the struggle that goes with it. But thanks so much. Love you all. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you. See you later. I'm going to skedaddle in my sports car. Later, everyone. Bye.